Your prank calls aren't gonna scare me, pal, okay? Something's been bothering me, and it always has since my grandma told me. The cops said Peter did it. And for years, my grandma said the same, but I think she started to have doubts. Who the hell is this?
What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 193 of McRae Live. The date today is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Friday, July the 23rd, 2021. It's 12:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. Have you seen the Total Film magazine Halloween Kills, all the new images, all the interesting insights? Are you excited about it? Have you read it? Have you read it? What did you think of it, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to talk about it here today on the show. It's good to see everybody here. It's hard to believe it's Friday, July the 23rd already. Friday, July the 23rd already. So Total Film magazine out of the UK. Now, this was supposed to drop like a long time ago. These are not new interviews, by the way. This was supposed to drop a long time ago. And, of course, it was delayed. And we're going to take a look at some of the images and take a look at some of the write-up. Now, I'm not going to read the whole freaking article, okay? I'm not going to do that. If you want to, I'm sure you can find it online. It's going around online right now. It's not difficult to find. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read a little bit of it and kind of skim through it a little bit together and find some interesting things to hone in on and talk about. We'll look at the photos, obviously, a bit more closely and see what we can garner from some of these photos. It's fun to do this and see sort of see kind of what we're talking about. So let's jump right into it. Let's move over to the other screen here and let's jump right into it. So this is now it might be a little blurry for you. That's because I am looking at JPEGs of the article. Okay, JPEGs of the article. I did not receive a digital copy, even though I signed up for one. I did not receive a digital copy. So Total Film magazine, I don't know why I didn't. Is it because I'm in Canada and we here don't even get the digital copy on the... I don't know. I have no idea. I just signed up for it. It said it was going to be released at midnight and I didn't get it. So fine folks over at Total Film, just to let you know. Nonetheless, thank you to my great moderator, Darren Sands, who provided me with these images late last night. I appreciate it. So I was able to take a look at this. Okay, so it says, call a film Halloween Kills and you'd better deliver. Over 43 years, 4 separate timelines, and 10 blood-soaked rampages, masked maniac Michael Myers has slaughtered over 120 unsuspecting residents of Haddonfield, Illinois, on the spookiest night of the year. Utilizing everything from a trusty chef's knife to an especially pointy tripod, Halloween Resurrection, in his single-minded pursuit of Laurie Strode. Myers, then, is no slouch when it comes to butchering the innocent, but his body count is set to skyrocket when Kills hit screens later this year. Ooh, it's about to skyrocket, baby. But we know this. I mean, we know that this is what's going to happen. We know this, so that's not a surprise there. And although I do think they showed, I do think they, for my taste, right, with how I like trailers to be, you know, when you look at, and again, I mean, it's a short film, but when you look at how we designed the marketing campaign for It's Me, Billy, you know, when you look at our trailers, actually, that might even be more impressive because it's a short film. But when you look at our trailers and then you watch the movie, you can see how, you know, we showed you very little. We showed you enough to get sort of the sense of the story, but we showed you very little. Anyway, there's reasons why. There are reasons why Universal shows a lot in their trailers. It's not just, these decisions are not arbitrarily made. They're not arbitrarily done. There are specific reasons why they show a lot. That being said, I can tell you, having spoken to a couple of people close to the scene that have seen the movie, I can confirm for you that if you're worried that the trailer shows everything, it doesn't. It doesn't. You ain't seen anything yet. So if you think that the trailer showed the whole movie, it hasn't. You ain't seen anything yet. I am confident in that. It's intense and brutal. Just brutal, says Jamie Lee Curtis of the follow-up of Halloween 2018. Itself a direct sequel to John Carpenter's original trailblazing slasher. There's an incredible amount of killing in this movie, adds Danny McBride, the film's co-creator. It's so bloody. It's wild. There's Danny McBride. It's so bloody. It's wild. Woo! Ow! David, Gordon Green, just went for it. This is such a vicious sequel. It's relentless. Yeah! What do you think, people? All you fans out there that have wanted Michael Myers to just fucking go to town. Looks like you're going to get it. Green completed work on Halloween Kills in July 2020, right around the time the decision was made to push the film back by 12 months to avoid a compromised theatrical experience. He hasn't watched it since, both to resist any temptation to tweak things here and there and cause trouble for everyone. I totally understand that. Again, I mean, I haven't made a Hollywood picture, obviously, but thinking about what we just did with It's Me, Billy, you know, it's true. The temptation, when you think you're done and you kind of, you know what I mean? When you go back and you look at something, it's very tempting to kind of tweak this, alter that, push that up, take that back. You know, what if we do? So I can totally, it might be a good thing that he hasn't gone back to tweak anything else. That's why you make horror movies, says Green, who, along with McBride, is currently in production on the second season of HBO series. Let me bring up the other thing here. HBO series. There we go. Righteous Gemstones. You make them for the crowds. You make it for those reactions. You make it for the community, which is just so loving. They're talking about you. They're talking about you. They talked about us. They mentioned us. We're part of the community. How do you guys feel about that? The community. It's exhilarating as a filmmaker to be a part of that connection. I 100% completely understand that. No moment proved more exhilarating for Team Halloween than the film's premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival in September of 2018. Not least because success was far from a sure thing. Anyways, I won't read this. You guys can read the rest of their experience at TIFF. I was fortunate enough to be at TIFF in 2018, as some of us were. I was able to get pretty good seats from somebody I know. And myself and Bruce attended it. If you want to check that out, it's an older video on my channel now. I guess it's almost 3 years old. But if you YouTube Dave McRae Halloween 2018 world premiere or something to that effect, it'll come up. It's like a 20-minute video, and myself and Bruce walk you through the day. We're downtown Toronto. We're talking about the excitement. We're getting dinner. We're hyping it up. We go to the theater. We're in the theater. We walk by the red carpet. We see Jamie Lee Curtis and Andy Manichak and Judy Greer, and it's on my channel. Check it out. I think you guys might enjoy it if you have not seen it. But if you want to know more about their thoughts, you can obviously take a look at that. But let's look at some of the photos, which is interesting. So here's an interesting photo. This is Michael Myers getting ready to give this guy a prostate exam. And although I just don't think he should use the knife. I mean, Michael, if you want to give him I swear to God, the caption on this photo has to be, well, here we go. You know, sir, get ready. I'm coming in. It kind of feels like that. And the guy on the counter here, he's not dead. He's just like, just do it. Just do it. Just stick it in. Just do it. Just feel my prostate. Just do it. Come on. Just fucking do it already. And Michael's like, well, here we go. Now, what's interesting, in case you guys haven't noticed here, some people have pointed out, let me see if I can actually make this a bit larger. Take a look at Michael's, and again, it's a bit blurry. I apologize, but that's because the resolution of the image is not, you know, you can't blow this sucker up. But if you look to Michael's, where's my cursor here? There we are. If you look to that's it. If you look to Michael's left hand here, which is the hand where he lost his 2 fingers, he's got it bandaged up. That fucking hand is bandaged, baby. It's bandaged. Well, what the hell does that mean? Did Michael take the time to stop off at Walmart and grab himself a first aid kit and I mean, I certainly hope we don't see that. I personally don't think it's necessary to have his hand bandaged up, even in the sense of that he's supposed to be human, right? He is human, but with that kind of that slight supernatural edge. I still don't think it's necessary. Again, it's all on the execution and the delivery of how this comes to be, right? Do we see Michael actually say, again, I'm somebody of the huge proponent that we should never see Michael's process in terms of being vulnerable. I don't mean process in terms of like POV shots, you know, picking up a knife and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of his vulnerability, I'm not somebody that thinks we need to see that. I don't think the audience should ever see Michael in a position where he's vulnerable, where we see him wrapping this thing up, or, you know, we see him sort of, you know, standing in the self checkout at Walmart. Boop, boop, boop. Do you need help, sir? Boop. You know, it's not necessary. Obviously, they're not going to do that. I'm being satirical, folks. Dave, he's not going to be. There's somebody out there thinking I'm serious. So it's wrapped, and I find that interesting. I don't think it's necessary, 100%. I don't think it's necessary at all. I think just leaving it completely naked actually is better and actually buys more. I mean, yes, you would assume that maybe they would assume, listen, you know, you cut off both your fingers, he's going to bleed to death. Well, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. If I cut off 2 fingers, would I bleed to death, or would I have a certain amount of time? I mean, this takes place the same night. It's not the next day. You know, is it necessary to show him wrapping it up and fucking putting polysporin on it or something? I don't know. Anyways, it's just an interesting factoid here. It's like, oh, it's an interesting observation. His hand is wrapped up. It's an interesting observation. You know, Darren Sands says a good point too. That's right. The fire may have done that. But then if the fire did that, it's unnecessary to wrap it up. You know, that's how I kind of feel, is that I think, I don't know. I mean, why is it wrapped? And do we see him wrapping it? I hope not. But then again, if it just shows up wrapped, that's also kind of fucking weird too. Where did he take the time to do that? You know, I think it's completely unnecessary, but we'll see. We'll see if it's a weird sort of awkward moment in the film. Maybe not. But this is cool. This is cool. Yes, this is obviously, you know, somebody's about to get their prostate exam. I love the collar flip here, the collar flip and everything, the old fucking TV in the background, all that shit. It's awesome stuff. And of course, this looks like a behind the scenes shot because I believe that's Danny McBride there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's Danny McBride. Behind the scenes, this looks like they're at the bar somewhere. This looks like this could be a copy of the script. They might have a couple of C-stands there. Yeah. It's cool. I mean, not a lot to go on. We've seen this image before, really, at the end of the day. We've seen this image here. You know, we've seen it. or one like it. Another behind the scenes, David Gordon Green and Nick Castle, the shape, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Castle himself. Cool. We do know that Nick Castle has another cameo in this movie. We know that, which I think is really cool. I think that's a nice. I think that's, if anything, it's symbolic and it's cool. At the very least for that. They certainly don't have to do that. It is completely and utterly unnecessary to have Nick Castle in this movie at all. Everybody knows that. He would know that. It's unnecessary. But it's a nice, it's symbolic. It's respect. And I would have done the same thing. I totally would have done the same thing. So I think that's cool. That's cool, But there he is. Yep, he's got the jumpsuit on, wrapped around his waist there, and he's got it wrapped around his waist. He's got the burned mask, and David Gordon Green just standing there like, "Hey man, what's up?" All right, and then what else we got here? We've seen something like this from the trailer. Lonnie Lamb, folks. Lonnie Lamb. There's Lonnie Lamb. He's right there. He's like, let's go. I'll tell you, it's the carnage. The carnage, like he says in the trailer, the carnage is a path to Michael's former childhood home. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I hope that's not a plot point, really. Like, I hope it's not. Again, I just think that maybe that's an assumption on their part, but I hope it doesn't become like Michael's luring them to the Myers house. It's like, I think it's kind of unnecessary to do that. I really don't think he fucking cares, but nonetheless, it's an interesting little bit in the trailer. And then, of course, you got Cameron and Andy Matichak's ready to fucking tear shit up, man. Tear shit up. The way she's dressed. Oh, that's right. She's in her Halloween costume. For a minute, I was like, I don't think people dress like that. And then I'm like, oh, right. I think she's still in her Bonnie and Clyde outfit, if I'm not mistaken. So that's probably why she looks like that. Cool though, right? Cool. All right, let's bring up something else here. Let's see. It's the next in line is this one here. Let's bring this up. What do we got? Let's just see what we got here. This is kind of interesting. David Gordon Green's talking about Halloween, inspiring him, and that he still has the VHS tape of Halloween. It's kind of, jumping off from talking about the Toronto International Film Festival experience. Blah blah blah. The sequel is almost always where it shits the bed, McBride notes. Not inaccurately, or the monster is... Okay, well, this is interesting here. I like this. Let me just read this here. So, the reception out of Toronto and subsequent box office haul of $255 million worldwide, far and away a franchise best, practically guaranteed a sequel or two. But Green and McBride had been dreaming bigger from the beginning. When David and I first met, the conversation was that he and Danny had conceived of a trilogy, Curtis recalls. They understood that there was much more of the story to tell than just Halloween 2018. Both agreed that their first Halloween needed to be conclusive in and of itself, and that committing to sequels, which may never get made if, I think I'm saying that right, if the first film didn't resonate, would be, I think I'm saying this right. This is even blurry for me at best. Yeah, my apologies, guys. It's even blurry for me, and I have my glasses on because I've moved it up so much here. But that doesn't at best. Foolhardily at worst, as Universal learnt to their cost a year earlier with the yes, collapse of the dark universe. Okay, yeah. Okay, we know that. Let's get on to the juicy stuff. My apologies here, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Again, you can go and read this whole article on your own if you haven't already, so you know what the hell I'm talking about. The sequel is almost always where... The sequel is almost always where it shits the bed, McBride notes. Totally agree. Not inaccurately. Or the monster is over-explained. Yes! That's right. Or something happens that makes it into a joke. Yes! How many times have I been saying that, ladies and gentlemen? How many times? That is why you need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and why you want to be able to not unnecessarily drag this fucking thing out. However, if you are somebody that wants this thing to be dragged out to 9 10 movies, then you just make sure you better go and support the film over and over and over and over and over again. But listen, this is political, what I like to call political cinematic rhetoric. It's not that I don't believe that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride truly believe this, or that they haven't instilled this into their own films. I'm not questioning their motives here, but we've heard this before from other properties and other films and other filmmakers. It's what you say, whether that, you can say something, but whether you execute it on screen is completely different. That might be their intentions, but that they're also maybe bureaucratic, interference from the studio executives and the studio heads, and you can't do that. We want you to do this because we are business people and we know nothing about making. I mean, listen, that can happen too, right? So, but it sounds good. If you're an average fan, if you're an average moviegoer, this is what you want to hear, which it's what you want to hear. So, and I could not agree more. Let me see here. We really wanted to find a way to sidestep that, incorporating a lot of ideas developed for Halloween 2018. It was decided that Halloween Kills would pick up moments after the ending of the first film, with Michael still trapped in Laurie's purpose-built, where am I here? Purpose-built cell. Laurie's purpose-built cell as Shea Strode burns around him. Right. Okay. In 1981's Halloween 2, scripted by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, is similarly set on the same night as its predecessor, so Green naturally sought Carpenter's sage advice. Sure enough, a lot of the obstacles that I was facing, he laughed at. Can you picture John Carpenter laughing? Fucker, sucker, yeah. Here, David Gordon Green, you want a 6-pack of beer and a bag of Cheetos? Go get drunk, and then you'll be able to fucking write it. He laughed at and said that they were talking about the same things in the early 80s. He thought it was a funny thing to revisit a lot of the problems that they had and trying to find creative ways out of them. The solution that Green and McBride hit upon was to turn a series about the obsessive pursuit of a single woman by a madman in a mask into an ensemble tale centered around the residents of Haddonfield, all of whom have suffered at Michael's hands. As Green puts it, Kills is a much bigger story than a man with a knife in a house, victim by victim. It's the plague of fear. As word hits Haddonfield of what's out there, and some of it's true and some of it's not, it's building the myth of this murderer. It's building the myth of this murderer. It's the larger pervasive spread of fear and how that affects a community. I think there's more there, actually. One second, guys. There actually is more. One sec. Let me just... Let me move this up here for you. There we are. In 2018, with its themes of generational trauma and oh God, I can hear all the, here we go. Get ready. People in the comment section, in the chat room. Oh, so it's gonna be woke. Trump 2024. Listen, I just want to say to all my supporters out there that do not flood Dave McRae's comment section. He doesn't give a fuck, okay? He doesn't give a fuck. The biggest fucks. The best fucks, the biggest fucks, he just does not give. Okay, so do not flood the comment section. Dave is not a Trump supporter. He can't vote for Trump. He's not American. Okay, just want to let you know that. We don't give a shit about McRae. He's a piece of shit, all right? He's a piece of shit. The biggest shit. The best shit that's ever lived. Here it comes. It's coming. Here we go. Evil Alex says, what's woke about trauma? Get ready. I've read the article, buddy. The trauma, let me see here. Let me try this again. In 2018, with its themes of generational trauma inflicted on all three Strode women, or Halloween as Curtis refers them, and I'm not saying it is woke, I'm just saying the overly sensitive fan base that thinks that, just because you have two gay people in a movie that suddenly it's woke. Oh, so there's two gay people in a movie. Woke. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no, it's ludicrous, right? I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't such thing as woke narratives or stories or films or intention, but people take things to the extreme and then they just glom onto buzzwords and then everything all of a sudden is woke. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you know, the mere mention of trauma and Me Too in a sentence will cause somebody out there to go, here we go. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, so that's all I'm saying. So, yeah, let's try this again, shall we? In 2018, with its themes of generational trauma inflicted on all three Strode women, or Hallow women, as Curtis refers to them, get ready, here it comes. Halloween resonated unexpectedly with the still explosive Me Too movement. Once again, Green and McBride have found that the themes they're exploring within the confines of a mainstream horror movie are unexpectedly mirroring events beyond the screen. Trauma was act one, if you will, Curtis puts forward. There was a I can't even read that word. It's blurred together. Confidence? I can't even, it's so blurred together. My apologies. Between the Me Too movement and the Halloween 2018 movie where Laurie Strode, let me put this up here, where Laurie Strode, representing 40 years of oppression and her saying, I am not taking it anymore. I think I was a genuine reason. So Jamie Lee Curtis says here, hang on, let me try. I think it was a genuine reason why the 2018 movie was so profoundly successful. Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Now listen to that. I can hear it now. All the oh my God! Jamie Lee Curtis thinks 2018 was successful because it had a Me Too trauma angle to it. Here we go. Actually, I kind of have to agree in the sense of that's not why it was successful. Jamie, I know that you may want to believe that's why it was successful, and I am not somebody here to say that having social commentary in a horror movie. There's horror movies. There are horror movies a day. Some of your favorite horror movies have social commentary subtext to them, okay? So let's not pretend that this is new. Jamie, with all due respect, we love Jamie. We love her. Jamie. But with all due respect, I do not believe that the reason, even partly, that 2018 was successful was because it was playing on those social commentaries. Now, Jamie, people wanted to see fucking Michael Myers tear shit up. That's what they wanted to see. They were excited that you were back. They were excited that Nick Castle was back, albeit shortly. Or briefly, I should say. They were excited that John Carpenter was coming back to do the soundtrack. They were excited to have a fucking Michael Myers movie for the first time in 9 years. That's what it was. That's what it was. People were like, yeah, woo! Oh my God! It could fucking that's what it was. It had absolutely, unequivocally nothing to do with that. I'm not saying that's not important, and you shouldn't, be able to have that in a movie. But that's not why the movie was successful. Let's just, I know, but if that helps you sleep at night, knock yourself out. Here it comes. Now, David and Danny did not know that on January, this is Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, David and Danny did not know that on January 6th, there would be a Capitol riot. She continues. David and Danny did not know that George Floyd was going to be killed and it was going to stimulate large masses of people. See, this is what I was talking about, Evil Alex. I think it was you that was like, what's woke about that? I was like, get ready. Let's scroll down here. Hang on a sec here. Let me get this. Oh, wait, did I pick up the right one? Did I go too far? Hang on a sec, guys. What page was that? That was page, I was here, right? That was page 39, and this is 41, 42. Where am I? 38, 40, 39, 41. I don't think I have 40 up there. One moment. Hang on a sec, guys. I got to find 40. Is that 40? Why am I'm totally losing my place here, guys. My apologies on this. I have them all up. Why am I not 41? 40. There we go. That's 40. That's 40. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for your patience. This is 40. Da, 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 dee, 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 dee. Masses people, that's right, mass people, masses of people, masses of people taking to the street and taking to acts of violence as a way to say, we are doing this on our own. We are doing this on our own. We do not trust you to do it for us. This is Jamie Lee Curtis talking about what she feels is the subtext to Halloween Kills. And that's exactly what Halloween Kills is about. An entire town saying, we are taking this on ourselves. It shows what David and Danny it shows that David and Danny have a defining rod. Hang on a sec. Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to, my apologies. I think that's it there, right? Yeah, it just went, there you go. That's better. It just minimized on me for some strange reason. So, I mean, they're future thinkers. They have some ideas of what's happening in the world, and they're distilling it through their writing. Green and McBride can't account for their precog powers. I have no clue, chuckles McBride. Only that Laurie Strode, you see, that's what it is right there. Hey, is that what Jamie thinks we're doing? Well, all right, if that's what she thinks we're doing. Something tells me, and I have no evidence of this, okay, but something tells me that it helps, and I sincerely mean this, because Jamie Lee Curtis is very much a feminist, and there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, right? She's very vocal. She's very she's very she's like an activist, even though she's not out there with her top off going, yeah, fucking yeah, But she's very vocal about her views and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. I said this 3 years ago too, when she started to talk about trauma and all that in relation to the 2018 film. I said that, I have a feeling that Curtis, in some ways, maybe she doesn't even realize it consciously, in some ways she needs to tell herself that this is what the movie's really all about, that this is the subtext, the symbolism, the bigger picture, the social commentary, that maybe there's more of that than there really is, because it helps her get into playing this fucking character again, and it helps her, it gives her motivation as an actress to want to do this again. And I'm not saying that is it. I'm not saying that she doesn't enjoy working with David and Danny and, and being a producer and all that. I'm not saying that, but sometimes, people can make things out to be more than what they really are just because it helps them, psychologically, want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, did David Gordon Green and Danny McBride sit down and go, there was the Capitol riot on January 6th. There was the George Floyd thing. Fuck, man, we gotta change everything. We gotta change everything now. I mean, who knows? But Jamie, we love you. We love you, Jamie. See, that's what I'm talking about. People are gonna be like, woke. It's not woke. Okay, it's a little woke. Okay, it's woke. It's woke. It's a little woke. It's tremendously woke. I don't understand. It's woke. I just don't get it. I'm gonna run in 2024. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, we are taking this on ourselves. It shows it. Oh yeah, I already got that. Sorry guys, I'm all over the place here because it's fucking funny. Only that Laurie Strode so Green and McBride can't account for their precog powers. I have no clue, chuckles McBride. Only that Laurie Strode and her evolution as a character has driven a lot of the major decisions in their Halloween trilogy. It's almost like they're kind of... It's like, Jamie, if you want to think that, that's okay, but that's kind of like, okay, I guess that's a happy accident is basically what they're saying. Laurie is a voice of both insight and reason that is trying to give a volatile community some sense of purpose here. It's less about vengeance and more about a calculated philosophy of how to process evil, Green says, pointing out that she's not the main character of Halloween Kills. I told you that 2.5 years ago. Just saying. But she is the emotional core of it. Oh, Dave, shut up, McRae. Shut up. Oh, and by the way, people, to all my trolls out there, I love you guys. If you're going to troll me, though, if you're going to troll me from different accounts, make sure that you wait at least a day. No, wait at least 3 months before you troll me from that account. I have so many trolls trolling me now from accounts that they made on the same day. So like clearly it's one person with like 10 different accounts, right? And they will like, they'll get on and they'll create like, you know, a different account and they'll troll me from that account, which is fine. Okay, that's fine. That's great. Troll me from that account. But you make a comment on the day that you make the account. You can't do that. Like, I'm disappointed in you trolls. I really, I mean, that's trolling 101, is it not? Is it not trolling 101 that when you want to troll somebody that you, like, you know, I mean, I don't get it. Like, I mean, you know, guys, don't do that. You know, don't do that. Here, I'll bring up something and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's something right here. Okay. Where is it here? I got to, hang on a sec. That might not be, is it this one? No, it's not coming down. I moved it all over here. I'm not, hang on a sec. This guy right here, Steak Sauce, joined yesterday and he trolled me yesterday. There's this little thing here called About. And when you go to that, you can see when your account was created. I'm just saying, guys, you got to do better. You got to do better. You know, I mean, trolls, come on. You're disappointing me. All right. So that just talks more about Laurie Strode and Halloween Kills. She spends more of her time. Did I get all that? It's just Hatfield Memorial. With Laurie set to spend the majority of the film in Haddonfield Memorial Hospital fighting for her life after taking a knife to the gut in the first film. Kills opens up opportunities when heroes can shine and others can show their true colors and fall. According to Green, one of the characters who has already ascended to hero status is Laurie's daughter Karen, whose gotcha moment at the film's climax blew the roof off that Toronto screening. I was there and I have to admit the roof did actually lift off the theater. And, you know, I mean, I have to admit, I actually thought it was kind of cheesy. I think I was the only one in the theater kind of going, oh, that's kind of cheesy. And the people around me were like, woo, yeah, Karen Strode. Yeah. I was kind of like, you know, but people did seem to like it. For Judy Greer, a supporting actor extraordinaire, is where it was a rare moment in the spotlight she won't soon forget, and one that feeds directly into Karen's mindset in Halloween Kills. Anyways, you can go on, read more about this. Judy Greer talking about her character and David Gordon Green talking about the other characters and whatnot. That's 40. Let's go over to 41. Again, you guys can read this on your own. Like I said, I believe this is 40. No, that's 42. Where's 41? Wait a minute. Am I on 41? I am on 40, 42, 43, 38, 39, 42. What the hell? Where did my 41 go? So sorry about this, guys. I thought that's weird. Hang on. Maybe I'm losing it again. Ah, there's 41. I got it. For some reason, when I open it up, it comes up when I do something a bit different. Another key returning character. This is interesting. Another key returning character. Though not played by the original actor not played by the original actor Brian Andrews is Tommy Doyle, the second of Laurie's young wards on that fateful evening in 1978. Again, you know what? Read this on your own, guys. I mean, it's not stuff that we don't know. It's not stuff that you cannot, you know, make educated guesses on. Although there was one thing here that they did confirm, but we already knew this, of course, is that David Gordon Green did reach out to Paul Rudd to reprise his role as Tommy Doyle, but Paul Rudd couldn't do it because he was shooting Ghostbusters. And I stand to this day. I will die on this hill. Why the fuck would you bother doing? I mean, I know why, that's so, to me, it's awkward. It's like, yeah, but he's not Tommy Doyle. No, but he wasn't Halloween 6. Yeah, but Halloween 6 doesn't exist. Everything from Halloween 2 onward does not exist. There's no such thing. It never, ever, 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 ever happened. Ever. So even if he came back to play Tommy Doyle, he wouldn't be playing the same Tommy Doyle. It wouldn't be the same character that has all those memories from The Curse of Michael Myers and The Cult of Thorn and checking out Kara Strode across the street at the Myers house. He would have it would be the same in name only. So it's unnecessary. It is purely fan service. Like, at least if Halloween 6 was canon, you could make the argument that, well, it's character continuity. It's the same actor. It's the same guy. You could, no, it does not exist. So it's like, why? Why do that? Thank God he was busy. Because if they had announced Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle, there would have been a section of the fan base that would have been like, woohoo, aroo! And then I would have been like, why? But Dave, isn't it fun? No, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care about Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle and Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I really don't care. And he didn't either for a long time, I might add. Okay. Anyway, apparently Green talked to Paul Rudd on the set of Halloween Kills, and Paul Rudd gave Anthony Michael Hall his blessing. And I'm like, it's a good thing Paul Rudd gave me his blessing, because I don't think I could have. What is this? What is this? Somebody like, it's so, I get the symbolism of it, but I just have to say, I think it's kind of cheesy. I give you my blessing. Well, I would have been okay if you hadn't. It's not like I can't do this without Paul Rudd's blessing. Anyway, that's how I mean, no disrespect. No disrespect when I say that. I know there are people that are watching me that think I'm a pompous, egotistical, arrogant, self-centered prick. I understand that. I'm really not. I'm just theatrical. I'm being theatrical for the sake of entertainment. That's how I operate here. You guys know that. If you don't know that, you soon will or should. I'm an actor. That's YouTube's not my job, so I take stuff from my professional life into my YouTube life and get crazy. I just don't think it's that. I just think it's a little dramatic. Paul Rudd, he gave me his blessing. Where does it say that anyway? Anyway, it's just funny. I just find it funny. But you can read that. I feel like the mystery is best. Oh, okay. Well, this is some of the shit here that I want to hone in on, because this is what I call political cinematic rhetoric. It sounds good. I understand that. And it doesn't mean that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride and company have not done this. We shall see. I like what I hear. I made a tweet late last night in a Facebook post, saying, where should I send the invoice? Because, exactly what David Gordon Green says here is exactly what I've been saying on this channel for 4.5 years. About the character of Michael Myers. And I satirically made a tweet saying, where should I send the invoice? Implying that, there are some people that have taken that seriously. Like, oh, Dave thinks he had the lack of nuance in people it never ceases to amaze me. No, of course, Danny McBride and David Gordon Green have not watched me and are taking what I've said and, paraphrasing. Of course they haven't. I'm making a joke. I just think it's fun and it's funny that there's a lot of what I say in here. I think it's great. I think it's great that we see eye to eye. I just hope that I'm not the one making the movie, so I hope that it's executed. But no. You get your people out there. Oh, Dave, look at him. He thinks that Dave. Let's read this, because this is good shit. All right. Despite... No, that's not it. There we go. Despite Doyle's comeback, the much maligned Cult of Thorn won't be making an unwelcome return in Halloween Kills. Thank goodness. On the contrary, Green and McBride have been determined to avoid any explanation of Michael Myers, supernatural or otherwise, from the start. Quote, "You don't want to reveal too much," Green says. Go on. I don't want to know Michael's psychological backstory. Go on. I don't want to see too much of him. Go on. I want to be very specific about how he's lit. Go on. The mystique of Michael. Why, go on. I'll say, gurgles in my throat, I'm so excited. I'll say the mystique of Michael, I'll say, is extremely important to preserving what's scary about him. No! You've got to be kidding me. Go on. That's it. There's no more. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Yeah. You don't want to reveal too much, Green says. I don't want to know Michael's psychological backstory. I feel like the mystery is best left unsaid. I don't want to see too much of him. I want to be very specific about how he's lit. The mystique of Michael, I'll say, is extremely important to preserving what's scary about him. My invoice is in the mail. And of course, people, I make that a tweet and people are like, oh my God, Dave actually thinks that look how arrogant Dave is. Like, holy fuck. This should be this sound should be in your head all day if you actually think I thought that. Unreal. One of the biggest challenges for Green is one of the biggest challenges for Green in working on Halloween is, let's get number 40. Oh, no, I went back. Come on, we're at 42. 42, woo! Came up quickly this time. Awesome. Is controlling Michael's image, a task easier said than done, as some of the goofier depictions of the character in the past have proved. I agree. Quote, my obsessive impulse is to be very protective of how we see the shape. So less is more. Go on. And yeah, I don't always win those battles. He's talking about studio bureaucrats, people interfering. David, I think we need more. But I'm always fighting them. Good for you, David. I'll take you out for a beer if I ever meet you. One of Green's recent battles was over the film's trailer, which appears to give away a significant amount of the film's kills and plot beats. Quote, there's a fuckload of spoilers, huh? Green sighs. That was a long journey. See, again, as I say, for those of you that don't know, unless you are somebody who has significant weight, like a Spielberg, and even then it's not guaranteed. Film directors have no say. They can fight for it. They can try to steer a ship in a certain direction. They can make suggestions. But at the end of the day, a film's director has no say on how a film is marketed, generally speaking. And that includes TV spots, trailers, posters, taglines, They have no say. And sometimes when a director feels that their vision is being compromised, and a lot of times you can feel that way, they can fight, they can try to step in and suggest, can we not do this and maybe this, or try to find a compromise. But it's also important to note that there's a lot in that movie you haven't seen yet, as I said at the beginning of the show today. Spoiler or not, the trailer does tease what's set to be a major moment in Halloween Kills. Karen removing Michael's mask. I was so excited. I thought it was really cool, Greer says, of first hitting Karen's big moment in the... Excuse me. Did I... No, that's right. I have to go down further. Excuse me. There we go. Greer says of first hitting Karen's big moment in the script. With this type of story, I can't read it like that. With this type of story, you've got to keep challenging the premise. Otherwise, it's another 40 years where we're running from this guy. You have to keep making the stakes higher. I agree. If you don't do that, you're just making the same movie over again. It's also a moment that's consciously calling back to the climax of the original Halloween, where Laurie briefly manages to wrestle Michael's mask off his head. It's digging deeper into those little moments of Carpenter's film, Green explains. It's something that we know startled Michael. Do you though? Do you? He scrambles to put it back on. That's true, he kind of does. Out of some insecurity. Maybe. Or whatever it is. That disguise is his superpower. So if you need to bait him and try to move this... mythical creature, I thought that I thought that felt like a very provocative device. Excuse me, yes, provocative. I thought that said proactive for a minute. Device to reuse. One device utilized to somewhat. Sorry, guys. One device utilized to somewhat divisive effect in Halloween 2018 was humor with irrelevant skits. That's the thing too with humor. Anyways, I can go on here. Read about this. It talks about the humor. It talks about how there's still humor in Halloween Kills, but it's not so apparent and so in your face as it was in Halloween 2018. And you guys can read more of that, so on and so forth. They talk more about that with everyone, but there's marketing departments working on Halloween Kills. Long finish. Attention is now turned to the Trilogy. Okay, so this is what Sean Giroux of Fandom Empire and myself were talking about yesterday. Sean broke the story yesterday, and then of course I followed up with it, and this is sort of what was happening yesterday. So this is where they're talking about Halloween Kills, or excuse me, Halloween Ends. In a similar vein, John Carpenter's score, of course, is going to be amazing. We know that. They talk about that here. This film is somewhat different tones, what we're exploring, and very generously gave us the musical as going to tone. Green says you can read about that. That's cool, talking about the score. With everyone but the marketing department's work on Halloween Kills long finished, attention is now turned to the Trilogy capper, Halloween Ends. Green and McBride already know exactly where they're taking Strode and company for one simple reason. The script was written a year ago. We wrote the Halloween Kills script, the Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends at the same time, McBride confirms. We wrote both so that we had a clear vision of where everything is going. And we weren't just doing a greatest hits each time, but that it was going to be a journey. I really do feel. Sorry, guys, I'm thinking about something else while I'm reading this. I'm not being very fluid. Let me try that again. We wrote them, and sometimes it's hard to get a flow because the quotes are exactly how someone talks, so sometimes there's not a flow in there. Quote, we wrote them both so that we had a clear vision of where everything is going, and we weren't just doing a greatest hits each time, but that it was going to be a journey. I really do feel like each of these films is completely distinct and unique. That's good. I like the sound of that. And they all connect to each other in a way that I don't feel is repetitive, but it just makes for an epic, bigger story, which I thought was exciting. All right, I do like the sound of that. He goes on here to say, initially planned for late 2020, they go on to say, initially planned for late 2020, filming on Halloween Ends is now unlikely to start until the new year. And while the pandemic played havoc with Kills release plans, on to 4 to 3. Where's my 4 to 3? Here we go, 43. The additional year will only be to the betterment of the upcoming threequel. Quote, the script has evolved. This is what we were talking about yesterday on McRae Live. The script has evolved a little bit since last year, Green says. We had the opportunity to wake up with a new idea, meditate on it for a year, and see how that's evolved in a really good way. So this is what we were talking about. The initial plan was to have all three movies set on the same night. Halloween 18, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends were going to be the same night. And I actually, to be honest with you, like that idea. There's a symmetry to it. There's a poeticness to it. I really like that idea, and I think it can be absolutely achieved. What he goes on to say here is interesting, fascinating. The year hiatus will also feed into the structure of the film, which will jump forward a few years following the events of Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills. We're able to use the authentic time clock between Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. That simply means, basically Halloween Kills takes place in 2018 and Halloween Ends comes out in 2022. So it looks like there will be a 4-year jump. That's my understanding of this, is that they're using the authentic time clock. So Halloween Kills is 18, Halloween Ends is 2022, the release date of the movie. That's when I think that it's going to take place. So that's 4 years. So I have a lot of questions about that we'll talk about in a moment, but that's interesting. Some of which, of course, we already talked about on yesterday's show with Phantom Empire. It's just interesting. It's interesting. We're able to use the authentic time clock between Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So that's interesting. I agree. There will be a bit more of a linear time. There will be a bit more of a linear time I like linear time, that acknowledges the reality of our years between the productions. It allows us to imagine what these characters' lives have been like after having preceded these events over a few years. Producer Malika Akkad hints that the last one is going to be way more contained. I'm going to talk about that in a second, than Halloween or Halloween Kills. Something Green reiterates while pointing out that as a filmmaker, generally, he has an aversion to making the same type of film twice, a fact that extends each film in this Halloween trilogy. Quote, I get engaged by doing something different. If I was just going to be repetitive, I would hand the reins off to somebody else, or to someone else, excuse me. When you have that opportunity within an established franchise, it's really fun to think about how you can show different tones and perspectives and evolve. As for Jamie Lee Curtis, one of the few people to have read the script for Halloween Ends, after 43 years and after Halloween Ends, after 43 years and continuing, I'm sorry, guys. After 43 years and counting, she's preparing to potentially, maybe, probably say goodbye to Laurie Strode. I hope so! If Laurie Strode makes it out of Ends, I'm just saying. I'm probably I'm surprised the Price is Right haven't come after me for that, for how often I use it. I'm just saying. I would say, quote, this is Jamie Lee Curtis, quote, I would say, given what I know about the next movie, I think it will be the last time that I will play her, Curtis reveals. And I'm not saying something like, oh, because I die. It's nothing to do with that. I'm thinking about emotionally what they have constructed. And I believe her with that. I believe, now, whether she dies or not, I do believe that she's being truthful when she says, I'm not saying that she dies. I'm talking about the character's arc. I'm talking about where the character begins and where the character ends. It feels like the proper place to say goodbye. It feels like the proper place to let it go. It feels like the proper place that the story is now complete, right? Her arc is truly done. So I do believe that that is what she means there. And whether she survives or not, I hope it is the last time we see her. If it truly is that impactful and she is truly, being truthful, which I have no reason to believe that she's not. I think it will be a spectacular way to end this trilogy. End quote. Sounds like Michael Myers is about to make another killing. And this is a really cool photo. This is really cool. This is absolutely really cool. Let me oh, wait a minute. Actually, if I just minimize this, you might be able to see it better. Yeah, there we go. This is really cool. In the window. Look how small. What the hell is he holding there? Is he holding like a letter opener or something? It just looks kind of tiny. Don't judge the size of my knife, man. Don't judge the size of my knife, man. So this is a really cool image. There's a lot of cool images in this article. Not stuff that we haven't seen before, but cool images. There's Barker. Barker's back, baby. Barker is back. Bob Barker. No, maybe his first name is Bob. No, it's not. This is obviously in the hospital. We see, a commotion happening in the background. We have a Haddonfield deputy there. We've seen this photo before. This is a promotional image. You can usually tell what are promotional images and what are screen captures. This is a promotional image for sure. This is a screen capture. This is likely a screen capture. Cool though. I love how they took him out of this image. Oh no, it's not actually the same image, but it's just kind of there hanging hanging by himself. And then what else we got? Yeah, this image here, of course, we've seen. This is a promotional image. This scene does appear in the trailer, but this is a promotional image. This was taken, when they weren't shooting. Like, okay, guys, we gotta, pretend you're scared. That kind of thing. That's cool. Cool. And then what else? Yeah, these images we've already gone over on this page. We already went over it. And then this is obviously because it's a magazine. This is somebody's ass. It's actually the tail end of the other one, which is I don't even have it up, but it's unnecessary to have up. Anyways, cool indeed, right? A lot of really cool photos. I didn't read the whole article. Thank you for bearing with me, by the way, because, I don't just read. I'm animated and theatrical, and I got to make it, I got to package my presentation a fucking epic piece of shit. So I appreciate your patience on that, but it's always fun to go over together and talk about the images and talk about sort of some of the more juicy details in this article. And I encourage people to read the full thing on their own. They talk about their experience at TIFF. They talk about, Marion coming back, Charles Cyphers coming back. And it's interesting. But some of the more interesting things that I find in this are things like, I think the big one for me is Halloween Ends fast forwarding, which looks like probably 4 years. That's interesting to me because I understand, I can intellectualize everything that Danny McBride said, or was it David Gordon Green? I forget. It was one of the two. We're talking about the reasons of, the time clock and where the character is going to be after the events of Halloween Kills. That's fine and all. That's fine and dandy. But as somebody who I know how Halloween Kills ends, not just because I've read the script, but because I have certain context close to the scene, and they've told me certain things. Although they have signed NDAs, they've told me certain things. I can't say they've told me certain things. They have honored their NDA. They've hinted at certain things and let me fill in the blank, and they kind of know. But let's just put it this way. I find it interesting. I want to know the why. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I just want to say that it's interesting. Those people who do know how it ends, or maybe you're fortunate enough to have seen a screening of the movie back last year when they screened it, because they did, or was it, no, I guess was it last year, or was it early last year? Maybe it was like early 2020 before the pandemic hit. They did do a screening. If you're fortunate enough to have seen it, you're probably somebody that's going, really? That's interesting. You know what I mean? I want to know what it is what is the sequence of events that causes everything to stop? And then fast forward 3 or 4 years. I will say, as it stands right now, as we talked about on my show yesterday, myself and Sean, to end Halloween Kills the way it does and then fast forward 4 years feels strange in what I know about it, and what was sort of locked, loaded, and ready to go, unless there has been something that has been tweaked since that we don't know about. That's entirely possible. Unless the opening of Halloween Ends opens recapping how, like, it opens in 2018. So there's that buffer zone. And then, 10 minutes into the movie, we fast forward 4 years later. Maybe that's what they're going to do. And I could see that. But my concern is, where is Michael? What is the purpose? What's the reason for fast forwarding 4 years? So let's talk about this first. Number one, he's either going to walk off into the ether and nobody knows whatever happened to him. So what's he been doing for 4 years? We can't Halloween H2O this. It's two different types of Michael Myers. That's weird. Number two, he's caught. He's caught and he's put back into Smiths Grove Sanitarium again, or wherever, to what? Only escape again. So he's caught again to escape again. Like, it can't be that predictable. It can't be that lame. And I say that with all due respect. It can't, come on. It can't be that. Or he's not caught and he's continuing his rampage, and they just can't, they're always one step behind him for 4 years. You know, like he's always out there, and his carnage, there goes my light again. I got to get a new light. The battery's just not good. Or is it the sense of that there's a trail of carnage and people are dying over 4 years, and now it's Haddonfield, Russellville, you know, wherever, right? Like they bring other towns into the mix, and they just haven't been able to find him or catch him in 4 years. That's option number 3. What is it? Like that's, I'm very curious about, I mean, you know, we can talk, I mean, I get about revisiting the residual effects of Halloween Kills. I understand that. I get that. But if you knew how the movie ended, that's why people who know are going, okay, okay. Wasn't expecting that. Like that's significant of a time jump. Like you could even make a bold choice and say, you know what, Halloween Ends no longer takes place on the same night. It takes place a week later, you know, or like a couple of days later, you know, and that might rub some people the wrong way because you might go, but it's not Halloween, you know, but I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like that's the least of my worries, right? You know, but to make that bold choice, right? To make that sort of that creative choice, like, you know what, but then you can kind of intellectualize it. You can kind of go, okay, a week later, oh, let's go. Okay. Because you're in the same ballpark. You're in the same realm where the sequence of 3 or 4 years later, I'm just like, really? That's a heck of a time jump, dude. Now, we also know, and I believe it is in this article, and although I don't think I read it. Oh, no, I did. I think I did read it. And I think it came from Malakakad, that Halloween Kills is going to be a smaller, more contained. So that likely could mean smaller budget, smaller crew, shorter shooting schedule, not too many locations, right? When I hear a studio or, you know, a production company say that we're essentially, it's going to be smaller, more contained, that tells me minimizing your shooting schedule, minimizing your locations, which minimizes your budget, which can minimize your crew. If you have multiple locations, your crew goes up, your budget goes up, your shooting schedule goes up. Halloween Kills, I have no doubt, was a daunting a lot of fun, no doubt about it, but for this film, for sure, was pretty heavy. When you take like It's Me, Billy, for example, It's Me, Billy is a good example of a contained shoot, right? You know what I mean? One location, well, 2 locations, you know, really, but contained, smaller crew. I'm not saying that they're going to have, obviously it's going to be a larger crew than what we had and a much larger budget than what we have, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about, right? Like that's an example of a contained, you know, contained. So it maybe he does get caught. Maybe, as I suggested to Sean over at Phantom Empire yesterday, maybe, I'm not saying, I'm spitballing here. I'm throwing shit out there. Maybe it is not the slasher we think it's going to be, because in some ways, when you know what Halloween Kills is going to be, when you watch Halloween Kills, when you walk out of that theater, it is off. What I know about it, it's off the chain, as the kids say today. It is just fucking crazy. So to then go like, it almost makes me think that maybe they run the risk of peaking too soon. You know what I'm saying? So Halloween 18, Halloween Kills way up here, and then Halloween End. Like, so it makes me wonder if it's going to be more of a character study, more of a psychological drama, or not that you won't have kills or you won't have a kill or whatever, but it makes me think it's going to be more like Halloween 18 than Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills, I think, is going to be the one that stands out in this trilogy that is off the walls bonkers. And that maybe, you know, maybe Jamie Lee Curtis is right. Maybe, you know, the Capitol riots or the George Floyd thing, maybe it did have an effect on changing the script and making it more of a social commentary. And the residual effects of maybe Michael is caught again, and maybe they, Jamie goes to the sanitarium to try and talk to him, and there's a scene with him and her in a fucking room together, or like there's a real character study there. They sort of bring it down to the fundamental foundation of the effect that Michael has on Laurie and everybody, like, because he is a symbol of evil. He's a symbol of, he's the representation of their trauma. And, you could, and I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way, but in theory, you could do you could do that. That doesn't mean that there aren't moments where maybe he escapes within the sanitarium itself. He doesn't make it outside the sanitarium. He escapes within the sanitarium, and he kills some guards and a couple of inmates, and you can have some fun that way. Do some make it Halloween that way. But he never leaves the sanitarium again. He doesn't break free and because Laurie and everybody are containing him there. And I just find it interesting. It's fascinating, because I think they had it made to make it, end all in one night. But maybe they thought, we should change. And I'm being honest when I say this, guys, maybe the subgenre of Halloween Ends is going to evolve, where Halloween 18 is a slasher movie, for all intents and purposes. Halloween Kills is definitely going to be a slasher movie. Like, Jason Voorhees, eat your heart out. So get ready. And then, like I said, they've peaked. So to maintain that momentum, to maintain that expectation, you've got to make Ends almost the same. And then, but end it in a satisfying way. Maybe it was the right choice then to pull it back, fast forward, and now focus in on, and I'm not saying they're doing this, I'm just thinking as a filmmaker, I'm thinking, what would I think if somebody, said we need to change? Like, I'm trying to think of what would be the reasons, what would be going through their minds. Are they influenced? Danny McBride seemed to think Jamie Lee Curtis is influenced heavily by the social aspects of our society right now. The way Danny McBride spoke, I didn't get the sense that he is as. Maybe it's subconscious, I don't know. But when I hear contained, I that tells me, and it would tell most filmmakers or people who work in the industry, smaller budget, less locations, smaller crew. So what is this going to be? I don't know. If you're watching after the fact, folks, comment below and let me know. If you're in the chat room, let's talk about it. Let me know what you thought of the article as well. Let me know what you thought of the new images in the article. And let me know what you think of this. What do you think? Halloween Ends, fast forward. And see, I'm not of the mindset that, well, that's better because there's no way they could have ended it. No. They could have fucking ended it. And I thought there was a nice symmetry to it. I thought that Halloween Ends would have ended at sunrise. Now, you can still end whatever they're going to do with Halloween Ends. You could still end it at sunrise. But I thought it would have been nice to end Halloween Ends at sunrise. Sunrise is rebirth, new beginnings. It's symbolically it's a rebirth. It's like spring, right? Sunrise is the spring of every day. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of symbolism to that, and I'm not saying that's what they were going to do, but I was thinking that I imagined that would have been smart, very much like what Halloween 2 from 1981 did. There was a rebirth. It ended, although technically anything after midnight is November 1st, it is still Halloween night. For those of you that think it's got to be before midnight all the time, every time. No, it doesn't. Even Halloween 2 from 81, most of that movie definitely takes place after midnight. So it's still Halloween night, right? So you definitely could have done that. And I think there's a nice symmetry there, but something happened where they're like, whoa, let's do this instead of this. I just hope they've made the right choice. And that doesn't mean that some of the ideas they had with Halloween Ends cannot then, the original idea for Halloween Ends to end on the same night cannot then be carried over. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? If there's something that is really good and really awesome, whether it's just a cool kill or a cool visual or an integral part of the arc and of the narrative, you certainly, if you can carry it over, I imagine they would have done that. I don't necessarily think there was a complete rewrite of the script. There may have just been a polish. There may just have been a, let's go through it and kind of, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily think they started from scratch, but who knows? I mean, they certainly had the time to do it with a year off because of COVID. So I don't know, folks. It's fascinating to see, but if I was a guessing guy, a betting man right now, I would say that based on what we know Halloween Kills is going to be and how this is a trilogy, and when you think of a 3-act play and the 3-act structure, and you think of how crazy the second act is going to be and how much they're going to peak, it's kind of like, it would not surprise me if Halloween Ends was more of a character study. It's still a slasher film because you're going to get a couple of kills here and there, but I have a feeling it's really going to be more of psychological slasher, psychological drama slasher, where you pull it back, you contain it, you bring it home. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think of that? I'm not saying that is what they're going to do, but the time jump is strange. Unless you're going to do something. It would feel strange to me to have this crazy second chapter and then have another crazy second chapter 4 years later where you have to build it and then end it all again in one movie. Like I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So that's what that's what I'm saying right now. I'm saying it's going to be, well, I'm not saying that. They said that it's going to be contained, but in terms of the narrative, it's going to be more of a character study and much more, maybe Michael's not even going to be in the jumpsuit. Guys, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would not surprise me if hypothetically he's caught again. I'm not saying that he is, but let's say he is for shits and giggles and he's put back into the sanitarium. Okay. It wouldn't surprise me if the entire fucking movie, he's got no mask and no jumpsuit. He's back. He's just, now that doesn't mean you see his face. Okay, don't think that means you see his face because it depends on how you shoot Michael. You can shoot Michael from the back, from the side, underneath, in shadow. Just because he may not be in the mask and not in the jumpsuit doesn't mean you're going to see Michael Myers. Okay, that doesn't mean that. You can figure out creative ways to shoot him where you still don't see him. All right, very much kind of like what we did with Billy and It's Me, Billy. So there's many things that they could do, but that's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards more of it's a slasher, but it's got a drama to it as well. That's what I'm thinking right now until we get more information. Obviously that could change, but that's kind of how I'm leaning. Anyways, what do you guys think about it? Comment below and let me know. And in the chat room, let's go to the chat room. Let's see what I know some super chats came in. So let's see what the super chats are here. I don't have a lot of time left, but I want to make sure that I get some of these super chats. So if you want to send in some super chats, by all means, do it now. I'll try to get some non-super chats if I can, but there was a lot to discuss today, a lot going on, as I'm sure you can imagine. Let's see what you guys have said here. So the first super chat was from Todd Fair, my man. Todd Fair sends in $10 and says, I still believe Michael and Laurie should have been brother and sister in this new trilogy. It would make the story so much better. Todd, you're not the only person that thinks that. There are a lot of people that feel that, again, not that, everybody experiences trauma differently, but that if Halloween 2 was canon, it would only help to perpetuate the craziness and the paranoia of the town and the people. And I agree with that. I absolutely, unequivocally agree with that. The shit that happened in Halloween 2 and the craziness that happened to Laurie in Halloween 2 only helps to justify her PTSD. Listen, everybody experiences PTSD differently, and whom who am I to say that, oh, you only saw 3 of your friends killed? Like, fucking come on, get over it. I mean, come on, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Everybody experiences it differently. But if you included Halloween 2, it only helps to justify the shit that they're doing now and make it feel more real, right? And more like, yeah, I totally believe that. I totally believe that. But I'm somebody that doesn't mind it not being there because I love the original intent of the character. But there's a lot of things that you say there that are true. 100% true, my man. 100% true. David Coe sends in $4.99 and says, if we see Michael bandaging himself up later, we should see him sneak into the hospital and give himself an IV if he is low on fluid. I agree. Why not? I mean, if the cat's out of the bag, why not do it? Jordan Ellis sends in $1.99 and says, not sure how I feel about ends being 3 years later. Dude, it might be 4 years later. Because they're saying the authentic sort of the time clock. So that tells me that you're going from 18 to 22. Potentially. So it may even be as much as 4 years. Maybe even be as much as 4 years. David Coe, again, sends in $4.99. Thank you, buddy. Says, I doubt this is the reason to make ends years later, but could it possibly be to justify Will Patton healing up so he can be involved again? No, that would not be the reason you would do that. That would just be a nice byproduct. That's too inconsequential to upheaval your entire thing. No, I don't think so. I don't think that would be the reason, in my estimation. Jonathan Grant sends in £5. Thank you, buddy. Says, trolls are lame looking for fame. Yep, I love your videos, Dave. I find myself dying of laughter. Well, I'm glad I can make you laugh, at least. That's good. And I could not agree. Trolls have to troll better. There's a lot of bad trolls out there. They don't know how to troll. It's just bad. I feel sorry. I'm just like, guys, come on. If you're going to troll, I mean, maybe I should start like the school of trolling or something. I don't know. Matthew Ferresi sends in $4.99 and says, I wouldn't at all be surprised if David Gordon Green and McBride didn't at least watch your Halloween 2018 review. I'm sure they'd want to know how people felt. Well, I mean, listen, I have no evidence to suggest that they watch me at all. Now, you would be surprised who does watch me and who no doubt watches others in the space as well. I'm certainly not the only one, but I've had certain people reach out to me that I keep private because they want that, but it would surprise you. You'd be like, oh, really? Oh, well, that's kind of cool. Whether David Gordon Green does or anybody from the production does, I have no idea. But you know, it's important to note that I was joking, you know, because I was just pointing out, hey, look, you know, good mind. Hey, look, I think this, and the guys making the fucking movie apparently think this, right? Whether it's executed is a different story, and whether the studio allows the certain things. Because listen, guys, if I went out to make a Halloween movie, if I was hired to make Halloween Kills, right, or Halloween 18, or Halloween Ends, or whatever, say it wasn't David Gordon Green, let's say it was me. There's a lot of things that I would love to implement, and that I would write a script that I'd love to implement that I might not be able to do. The studio executives may be like, yeah, nope. We want more Michael. We want more FaceTime for Michael. Emerging from the shadows, fuck that. Just have him come out. And you know, it might be like, no, but he's supposed to, like, we want to, there might be a lot of shit that I wouldn't be allowed to do either. I mean, that's the benefits of independent filmmaking, is that you don't have the studio breathing down your neck. And listen, sometimes depending on your relationship with a studio, it's not bad. But certainly studios can get involved, and some studios are more heavily involved than others. But as David Gordon Green said right here in this article, yeah, that was a fight, you know, because it's not up to him. He's a hired director. He has nothing to do with how his fucking movie is marketed. This is the studio. They're the distributor, right? They're going to market it however the fuck they want to market it and show whatever the fuck they want to show, you know, much to the anger of a lot of filmmakers. So, you know, I mean, I just thought it was cool, right? I thought it was cool that he felt the same way. So I posted that. Whether I mean, listen, there's a lot of Halloween fans. There's a lot of people who understand Halloween, understand the original intent, you know, understand the deeper layers of of the character and the history going beyond just a cool mask and a blade. There's other people out there like me who love talking about the nuances and the psychological aspect and the layers and, the cinematic language and, the symbolism. There's other people. And if you are a filmmaker, you should understand those things because it just makes you a better storyteller. You can bring that to your writing, bring that to your directing. So I wasn't surprised when I heard that David Gordon Green felt that way, but it was kind of cool to see him use language and cadence nearly identical to what I say. And I just thought that was kind of fun. I thought that was kind of funky, but there's always some idiot out there that completely misses that. Let me see, and thinks I'm being serious. But cool nonetheless. Devin Reeves sends in $5. Thank you, Devin. Says, Laurie's going to train Allison like she did Karen. Michael will go into hiding underground tunnel like in Halloween Resurrection. I certainly hope not. Thank you for the super chat though, my man. Anthony Bazzuto sends in $4.99, says, Dave, did David Gordon Green confirm that Hawkins will be back in Kills? Or are we just assuming he will be? Did not see Will Patton's name on it in the cast list. He didn't verbatim say it, but he pretty much said it. It was during the Twitter watch party about a year and a half ago when he was on Twitter. I believe he was on the Blumhouse Twitter page, and somebody was talking about Hawkins being dead, and David Gordon Green said something to the effect of, what makes you think he's dead? ... Well, I mean, if that doesn't tell you he's not, then I don't know what does, right? Sinclair Crypto sends in $9.99 and says, unpopular opinion, but I would love to see Myers on Christmas. They pick up on the same night in the beginning of H ends, but it picks up a couple months later on Christmas. I think that's a little too Black Christmas for my taste, but I wouldn't mind seeing Michael Myers in the snow. I wouldn't mind seeing that. That might be fucking cool. That might be cool. I'm open to something like that. I'm not saying I would definitely like to see it, but I'm open to something, maybe wintry, or maybe it is the fall. Like, it doesn't have to be Christmas time. It can still be Halloween. And listen, if you live in the Midwest, okay, and I live here in Toronto, Ontario, which we get in Canada. For those of you that don't know, I'm Canadian. And when you live in a four-seasoned part of the country or a four-seasoned country like Canada is, it's not unprecedented. It doesn't happen often, but it's not unprecedented to get flurries in October, to get a dumping of snow in October. It doesn't usually stick around. Like, it might be around for a day or two and then it melts, and you know what I mean? Like, the snow that really sticks and is there for like 4 or 5 months usually comes like end of November, December, maybe even sometimes as late as January. So if you get a dumping of snow in October, it's not likely to stick around. But it's not unprecedented to get a dumping of snow at Halloween or flurries, a dusting of snow. It's not unprecedented, right? I mean, the snow that we got when we shot It's Me, Billy, that snow that you see in that movie, that was happenstance. I mean, that just was luck, because when we left a week later, the snow was gone. There was no snow. So again, and that was the end of November. So I wouldn't mind seeing Michael in snow, like with flurries or a dusting of snow. That would be kind of cool. That would be cool. But specifically at Christmas time, little too Black Christmas for me, for my liking. A little too Black Christmas for me. All right, let me see. Did I get all your super chats? I believe I did, yes. And let me go to the ones that just came in now. You guys are awesome. Thank you for your patience. Jonathan V sends in $4.99 and says, Dave, would it be cool if Michael disappeared from the sanitarium at the end of Halloween Ends, similar to the original? Sure, I guess, but I want to see a definitive ending. And if you go and watch my sequel concept idea, there's a video on my channel called Halloween 2018 sequel concept idea, or something to that effect. I created it in the summer of 2019 before there was even an announcement of 2 sequels to Halloween 18. And it's like 2.5 hours long. It's not a fan film. It's just me being theatrical and walking you through with music and shit, my sequel idea for Halloween 18. And my idea was to have one extra film and to end it. I want there to be a definitive ending, and very much like what is in my sequel concept idea. Now, that doesn't mean it has to end exactly the way that I ended it, but it's got to end definitively. I don't want him, for me, I don't want him walking off into the ether. I don't want his eyes suddenly opening or him coming out of the claws. It's lame. It's lame shit. Been there, done that. I don't want that. You can kill Michael Myers. I want Michael and Laurie to die together. I want them to die together because it brings it full circle. It's poetic. There's symmetry there. It harkens back to the symbolism of the first movie when when they were talking about fate and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, in that movie, it was all about just that one movie, but you can bring that into it, and you end it on a philosophical note. You end it on a bigger picture note where Michael is presumed dead. Like in my sequel concept idea, I have them dying in a fire together in Judith Meyer's bedroom in the Myers house. And there's a lot that revolves, around that. But at the end of the movie, like the house burns to the ground. And at the end of my idea, I think it's Tommy and Lindsay, I think are looking at the rubble. It's like, I don't know, a month later or something. And they're just looking at this bare foundation. It's cold out, and the wind is blowing and it's now maybe, the middle of November or something. And they're sad. They're just standing there looking at the house. Laurie's dead. Michael's dead. It's over. It's finally over. It's a cloudy day in Haddonfield. The leaves are blowing along the ground. And they have an exchange and they talk to each other. And as they walk off down the sidewalk, Tommy and Lindsay, as they walk off down the sidewalk together, or maybe they get in a car. Maybe it's Brackett picks it. No, can't be Brackett because he dies in my concept. Can't remember what happens. Maybe it's, can't remember. But anyway, or maybe it's Karen and Allison. Maybe it's Karen and Allison pick them up because they're in my sequel idea too. Anyway, they go off, the camera, this nice drone shot it would be nowadays. Years ago, it'd be a crane shot. But this shot kind of, pulls back as we see the car driving off into the distance and we still see the foundation, there, and they're driving off, whatever. And then you just hear, even though this isn't technically canon because it's from the TV version of Halloween, you take it from it, you make it canon, and you just hear Dr. Loomis's voiceover as we're pulling back and you see the foundation. There's no him walking off. There's no jump scare. It's just pulling back. And we hear Dr. Loomis say, "You think you fooled them, haven't you, Michael? But not me." And then you cut to black and you roll the credits and you never make another one again. That's not like that to set up a sequel. It's like that. It's a philosophical, it's a bigger picture ending, right? It allows the audience to stew in that, to think about that, right? To think about evil and evil never dying and that line, and it brings it full circle and, all these things. It pays respect. It's not cheesy. It's not, lame. It's not shit we've seen 1,000 times, but the trick is to never make us. Now, that doesn't mean you can never reboot it and start over again. But I think you end it that way or something similar where you end it on a philosophical note. It's the ending of Halloween as we know it, connected to the 1978 original as we know it. Now, that doesn't mean that it's got to end exactly how I just said here. That's my idea, but bigger picture, bigger world, symbolism, you don't have to. But here's the problem. David Gordon Green and Danny McBride may want to do that. The studio may not let them. And that's the fight that you always have, is that you're like, no, let's end it this way. No, it's got to end. Listen, we love Mustafa Akkad, okay? If it wasn't for him coming to the table with his money, Halloween may not have been made. But, with all due respect to the Akkad family, your dad made some pretty, shitty decisions and how to keep him going. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered what Dwight, it just wouldn't have mattered. So they may not be allowed. But if
if I had my way in a perfect world, that's how I would have ended it. In a philosophical way that plants the seed of doubt in the audience's mind. And I would like to believe that audiences would be mature enough to go, wow, what a great ending. You know, what a satisfying conclusion to the big story. You know what I mean? But that's me. That's me. Raul A. Monagas? Am I saying that right? Monagas sends in $5. Thank you, buddy. Says, will Lori ever kill Michael herself and save the town? I would love that. I would love that. That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. Frank said, did I get Anthony Bizzuto? Thank you, Frank. I did not get Anthony Bizzuto. I didn't get Anthony Bizzuto? Oh, let me go back here. Sorry, buddy. Let me see. I thought I did. Or is that too late? No, I got Anthony. I got Anthony. The one where Anthony talks about Hawkins, right? I'm not seeing it here in the thing, and I refreshed it. I'm not seeing it in the thing, but I did refresh it. Let me see here. Wayne Gotke. No. Frank still thinks okay. Hang on a sec. Wayne Gotke says, I want a scenario where either Karen or Allison have to kill Michael and Lori together to ensure Michael's death. Well, I mean, listen to my sequel concept idea. You know, I mean, that's almost essentially what happens. Pay attention to that and let me know what you think, because that's essentially what happens. Let me go back and see here. I don't recall. I thought I got it all. I've refreshed. Oh, hang on a sec. Hang on. Let me go in. And I got to wrap this up here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Raul. Oh, sorry. Anthony. Yeah. And unless it was before that. Maybe it was before that. Anthony Bizzuto. There's Anthony Stanfield. Oh, okay. Oh, no. That was yesterday. Yeah, Frank, did I get it? Are you sure I didn't get it, man? Oh, he's giving me the thumbs up. Okay, thank you, Frank. Thank you. Appreciate that. I just want to make sure I didn't forget. Okay, very cool. And I think I got them all. I got them all. Folks, that's going to do it for me here on episode 193 of McRae Live. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. If you want to check out my links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, if you're not following me on social media, what are you doing? All the links are in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out. Again, links to my official websites are down there as well. I think my IMDb, the It's Me Billy Facebook page down there too. Check it out, folks. Would really appreciate that. Thank you to my amazing moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, and Chris Baber, for doing what you guys do. You're amazing. You know that I saw you guys working your magic earlier in the show today. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I should be back. And don't forget, tomorrow night over on Lee McCoy's channel, Drum Dum's channel, myself, Lee McCoy, why am I blanking? Barry. Wolfman's Got Nards. He always goes by Wolfman's Got Nards. That's kind of how I know him. Jimmy Champagne and the guys from Wham, of course, will be over there 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. Hallowstream Kills 3. Make sure you tune into that. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Ben's getting one in under the radar. Ben sends in 499, says, hey, Dave, just wanted to say thank you for all that you do for us horror fans. You are very much appreciated. I never get tired of watching you. Ben, thank you so much for sending that in and saying that. I really appreciate that. And thank you guys for being an amazing audience and being awesome viewers, sincerely. Because if you guys weren't awesome, if you guys weren't passionate and excited, then there'd be nothing for me to get excited about, because I get excited to share things with you guys because I know you guys get excited when I get excited, and it's kind of like a communal experience. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty. Cheers.